Beretta 92 FS. The Beretta 92 FS stands as the definitive baseline for what a modern combat handgun must be in the theater of war. Its iconic open slide design is far more than just a bold aesthetic choice. It creates a massive 180-degree ejection port that is virtually unmatched in the industry. This brilliant engineering feat means that spent brass has almost no physical barrier to clear, making the dreaded stovepipe malfunction nearly a mathematical impossibility, even in the worst conditions. When the U.S. Army put this legendary platform through the most brutal paces imaginable, the results were nothing short of staggering for the era. During official testing, the M9 averaged only one malfunction every 17,500 rounds fired, setting a gold standard for service sidearms. To put that into perspective, a soldier could shoot through 1,166 full magazines before ever seeing a single mechanical hiccup or failure to feed. It functions like a high-performance engine that refuses to stall, even when you are redlining it for hours in a desert heatwave. The barrel is chrome-lined for extreme corrosion resistance and measures exactly 4.9 inches, providing a perfect balance between muzzle velocity and tactical concealability. Weighing in at 33.3 ounces, the specialized alloy frame keeps the weapon light enough for a soldier to carry all day in a standard-issue holster. It was built specifically to endure the thick mud of Panama and the fine abrasive grit of Iraq without missing a single beat. This pistol does not just fire bullets, it delivers absolute peace of mind when the stakes are at their highest. Beretta 92 FS Brigadier. During the high-intensity transition of the late 1980s, a technical crisis emerged within elite maritime and counter-terrorism units. As operators shifted toward modern high-velocity ammunition, standard frames were being pushed to their absolute structural limits. Constant exposure to the violent expansion of hot loads caused microscopic stress fractures near the locking block. Beretta's engineering team realized that to survive this new era of firepower, the pistol required a strategic infusion of raw mass. The resulting Brigadier variant features a noticeably thickened slide wall that creates its famous heavy-set profile. By adding this extra slab of steel exactly where the slide meets the locking block, they created a fortress of metal. This reinforcement allows the gun to shrug off repeated shocks exceeding 35,000 pounds per square inch without a single hint of fatigue. Imagine trying to break a thick oak door with a hammer versus a thin pine plank. The Brigadier is that oak door. It turned a standard sidearm into an industrial-grade tool designed to outlast its own operator. To manage the physics of this beefed-up slide, the overall weight was increased to 35.3 ounces. This added heft acts as a natural stabilizer, utilizing inertia to soak up felt recoil and keep the muzzle tracking flat. The slide travels like a heavy freight train on greased rails, providing a smooth, predictable cycle that standard pistols simply cannot match. It became the gold standard for FBI HRT officers who demanded a weapon that would never crack, even when fed a steady diet of specialized submachine gun-rated ammunition. Beretta 92 A1. While most manufacturers chase flashy external aesthetics, the Beretta 92 A1 represents a sophisticated pivot toward internal mechanical preservation. At first glance, the obvious addition is the accessory rail for combat lights. However, the true revolution is a hidden component nested deep within the frame. Beretta's designers integrated a specialized internal recoil buffer, a high-density polymer insert engineered to mitigate the violent collision between the steel slide and the alloy frame. In a standard handgun, the metal-on-metal impact of the slide slamming backward eventually stretches the frame's tolerances. Think of it like a car without suspension. Every bump eventually rattles the chassis to pieces. The 92A1 utilizes this internal shock absorber to dissipate kinetic energy before it can damage the weapon's structural heart. This hidden piece of material science acts as a permanent insurance policy for your firearm. You might wonder why polymer is used here when steel is often seen as an upgrade. In this specific high-impact zone, the polymer's ability to deform and snap back is superior to metal, which would simply transfer the shock. It allows the 92A1 to digest thousands of rounds of high-pressure 9mm ammunition while keeping the frame's critical dimensions as tight as the day it left the factory. It effectively turns a high-recoil explosion into a muffled thud, preserving the gun's accuracy for decades. Complementing this internal protection is a captive recoil spring assembly, replacing the traditional loose spring and guide rod. This single-piece unit ensures spring tension remains consistent and prevents the loss of small parts during high-stress field maintenance. It is the difference between a loose pile of parts and a precision-engineered module that snaps together with absolute certainty. The frame also features a rounded trigger guard and a removable front sight to refine the platform further. By neutralizing the destructive forces of recoil from the inside out, Beretta created a machine that is mathematically designed to maintain peak performance. This variant proves that what you cannot see is often exactly what keeps the gun running longest. Wilson Combat 92 G Centurion. When Bill Wilson decided to re-engineer the Beretta, he focused on a principle that competitive shooters know by heart. Timing is everything. The 92 G Centurion is not just a chopped-down full-size pistol. It is a surgical refinement of the entire operating system. By shortening the barrel to exactly 4.3 inches while keeping the full-size grip, Wilson Combat altered the fundamental physics of the slide's travel. The reduced mass of the shorter slide means it moves faster and returns to battery with a violent efficiency that a standard 92 FS cannot replicate. This shorter stroke drastically reduces the dwell time, ensuring that even under the stress of rapid-fire strings, the timing between extraction and feeding remains flawless. Reliability is further solidified through a brutal rejection of plastic components in the cycling path. While factory models often use polymer guide rods to save costs, Wilson Combat utilizes heavy-duty stainless steel, precision-machined via CNC. In this high-heat area, steel is king because it prevents the frame warping vibrations that can occur during intense fire. During torture tests involving 500 rounds of rapid fire, where barrel temperatures can cook standard parts, this steel skeleton maintains its geometric perfection without warping a single millimeter. The trigger action is converted to a G configuration, meaning the lever only functions as a decocker. This removes the possibility of accidentally leaving the safety on during a life-or-death draw. Every contact surface is hand-polished to eliminate the grittiness common in factory triggers. When you press the wall on this trigger, it doesn't just move. It snaps like the clean break of a dry pencil, allowing for split times that feel illegal. This variant represents the peak of American custom gunsmithing applied to Italian elegance. It tracks targets like it is hardwired to your nervous system. If the 92A1 is the reliable daily driver, the Wilson Centurion is the tuned racing machine that never misses a shift. Langdon Tactical 92. G Elite Ernest Langdon, a legend in the shooting world, looked at the Beretta 92 and saw a battlefield of friction. To solve this, he declared war on every moving part, using a space-age coating called NP3. This is not paint. It is an electroless nickel polytetrafluoroethylene plating that actually puts Teflon into the metal itself. The result is a surface so slick that the gun can be run completely dry without a single drop of oil, even in a grit-choked environment. If you drop this weapon in a dust storm, the sand simply slides off the internal components instead of turning into a grinding paste. It is a level of smoothness that feels less like mechanical metal and more like wet ice on wet ice. The reliability of the LTT-92G Elite is not just about the coating, but the extreme precision of the fitment. By utilizing an M9A1 frame as the base, the pistol benefits from a checkered front and back strap that locks the gun into your palm like it's glued there. The metal-to-metal tolerances are so finely tuned that the slide cycle sounds more like a bank vault closing than a firearm cycling. This precision ensures that no matter how much carbon buildup accumulates after thousands of rounds, the moving parts never bind or slow down. It turns the inherent reliability of the Beretta design into a law of nature. The Elite designation truly shines when you analyze the trigger geometry. Langdon redesigned the trigger bar to reduce the reset distance to an incredible measurement of less than 0.1 inches. You can fire as fast as your finger can twitch. This isn't just about speed. It's about eliminating the human error that comes with long, clunky trigger pulls. Every shot is a clean, crisp surprise. By combining the reinforced Brigadier-style slide with a thin profile grip, The LTT-92G Elite manages to be both indestructible and incredibly ergonomic. It is a firearm that has been stripped of every flaw and rebuilt with a singular focus on mechanical perfection. When you rack the slide on an NP3-coated Langdon, you are feeling the results of decades of competitive mastery and combat experience distilled into 1 pound of steel. It is the sidearm for the professional who knows that in the real world, good enough is a death sentence. Beretta M9A3/M9A4. The leap from the classic M9 to the M9A3 and M9A4 is a direct result of 3 decades of blood and sand in the Middle East. Beretta overhauled the surface science to survive the world's most unforgiving climates. Instead of basic bluing, these models use a physical vapor deposition, PVD, coating. It is an industrial finish applied in a vacuum environment. This process creates a molecular bond that defies chemical corrosion and the abrasive sandblasting of desert winds. It becomes part of the steel itself. Your slide remains slick and functional even when baked under a 120-degree sun for days on end. The most brilliant update is the sand-resistant magazine. In Iraq or Afghanistan, fine dust is a silent killer of reliability. It turns gun oil into a grinding paste that jams the follower. Beretta fixed this by machining deep longitudinal slots into the magazine body. These grooves act as a high-speed drainage system for debris. Dust is channeled away from the ammunition stack and pushed out of the bottom of the frame. This means the 18th round feeds just as smoothly as the very first. It effectively deletes the primary cause of modern combat malfunctions that plagued the original M9 in the desert. Tactical utility is further pushed by the 5.1-inch threaded barrel. This is not for aesthetics or cool factor. The Beretta uses a unique short recoil, falling block system where the barrel moves straight back instead of tilting up. This linear path means a heavy suppressor won't disrupt the gun's mechanical timing. The action cycles with clockwork precision while staying whisper quiet, a feat that many tilting barrel designs struggle to achieve without extra tuning. The Vertex-style thin grip also makes the gun feel incredibly agile, even if you are wearing thick tactical gloves. It is a legacy design evolved for the modern elite operator who cannot afford a single failure. No gimmicks, just pure survival engineering. When you carry an M9A4, you aren't just carrying a pistol, you are carrying 30 years of combat feedback refined into a single, desert-colored tool. Beretta 92X Performance. The 92X Performance marks a radical departure from the 92 series' traditional philosophy by abandoning the lightweight aluminum frame for pure Niobe steel. In the world of high-speed shooting, frame flex is the enemy of consistency. When a shot is fired, standard frames actually twist and vibrate. These micro-movements can throw off your next shot by fractions of an inch. Beretta has effectively frozen the firearm's geometry in time with this solid steel chassis. It remains perfectly rigid, even under the violent recoil of overpressure rounds. The total weight hits a massive 47.6 ounces. This is not just heavy, it is a strategic advantage. The sheer mass acts as a permanent anchor against muzzle flip. The 92X Performance is engineered to endure a staggering workload of 50,000 rounds per year, while other pistols would literally rattle themselves to death under such a regimen. This steel titan stays as tight as the day it was assembled. The weight transforms the shooting experience into something nearly recoilless. The center of gravity is shifted forward. It keeps the muzzle pinned down for lightning-fast transitions between targets. This machine is for those who demand absolute mechanical certainty and match-grade precision that lasts for generations. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the evolution of the Beretta 92, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Your support allows us to keep bringing you high-quality firearm history and technical breakdowns. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next video.